Today's meeting of the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is called to order on December 21st, 2022. Welcome, everyone. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Agendas of today's meeting are on the wall to the entrance of the chambers. Please remember to turn off all your cell phones. The Municipal Code Enforcement Board consists of 7 members who are appointed by the City Council. We serve voluntarily. It's the board's intention to promote, protect, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Clearwater by providing this equitable, effective, and inexpensive method of enforcing certain codes within the city. The board considers new business items in 2 parts. First, the violation, and then affirmative relief. Formal rules of evidence do not apply. Each side is limited to 15 minutes. The board may grant additional time. All proceedings will be conducted in a calm, civil manner. Individuals who conduct themselves otherwise will be asked to leave. If necessary, they will be escorted from the chambers. Now I ask all who plan to speak to please rise and be sworn in by the clerk.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
I do.
Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of last month's meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Is there anyone here to speak to items not on the agenda? Please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, board members. I am Bill Johnson, 2694 Redford Court West in Clearwater. I just want to once again thank you for your service to the community. I think it's appropriate to pause and think about what code enforcement is really intended to accomplish. And that, one of the reasons anyway, is that when a person buys property in the city, they should have some expectation as to the future of their neighborhood in terms of neighborhood safety, maintenance, and physical character. And code enforcement provides an assurance to them that their future of the neighborhood and the future of their investment will be secure. And I thank you for your dedication to do that, and I thank the staff that does perhaps most of the work.
Yes, I second that. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you for coming forward.
Anyone else to speak on items not on the agenda? Ms. Mulder.
Good afternoon, Rebecca Mulder, Code Enforcement Manager. I just wanted to once again come before you to let you know that we have a couple new additions to our staff. We've been short-staffed for quite a while, and I'm happy to say that we are now fully staffed. All zones are now occupied by an inspector. Our newest inspector, Brian, just came on this week, and then we have David, so you'll be seeing them more in the future, but just wanted to introduce them to you guys.
Welcome.
Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank
Thank you. Just in time for the new year. Anyone else to speak of items not on the agenda? Anybody else? Okay. Okay, so next on the agenda are new business items. Case 72-22 is just a status update regarding respondents George Nikovic at 511 Phoenix Avenue in violation of code for permits. Is there anyone here to speak to this? You can come on up. Hello, you're Mrs. Nikovic, correct?
Yes.
Yes, please
Yes.
state your full name and address for the...
My name is Fiorella Nikovic. I live at 1701 Emerald Drive in Clearwater, 33756.
And you're here to give us a status update?
Yes, and I actually have progress that's been made, which shocked me. But yes, what's finally happened is we've gotten the permit. The permit has been sent over to the building department to review it and approve it, and then the engineer who's going to do the stairs said he'll start in January once he gets approval from the building department.
Okay. So they did get the permit, or they
Yes,
did not?
yes.
They got it?
No, we got the permit. The building department has it now, I guess, or whatever they need to do to say it's okay for him to start.
Okay.
So the question is, you've submitted it to the building department,
Well,
correct?
yeah, well, the
Has
person
the
who's going to be doing
has
it
the building department approved it?
has not yet. We just got the permit. I mean, when I tell you I had to get nasty in order to get them to do it, otherwise I would have been here again saying, nothing's happened, they haven't approved nothing, you know? But no, they got it, and he plans to start in January as soon as he gets the approval from he doesn't see any problem with them not approving the permit.
Of course not.
Ms. Nikovic, would you mind if we spoke to Mr. Cantrell, and just to make sure that we're all on the same page about your status update?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want me to sit down?
You can just, yeah, thank you. Mr.
Good afternoon.
Is this correct, that the permit has been issued?
A permit has been applied for. It has
Applied
not been
for.
issued yet. It's in review at the moment.
Okay.
I have the permit number.
Yes, there is a permit number, but that permit has not been issued yet. It has to be reviewed.
So I just didn't
and-
want her to leave with any confusion
Right.
about what was happening.
Yeah, it still has to be reviewed by
By the
staff.
building department.
Correct.
Yes, that's what he told me.
Yeah.
That's what he said, yes.
So there could still be revisions required, things like that. It's not, they're not ready to start work yet without the permit issued. You understand?
Okay. I was he said we got the permit and I sent it over to the building department. That's,
Yeah, you're waiting for that
yeah,
approval.
right,
Okay.
exactly. That's what he's waiting for now, is for them to tell him go ahead or
Yeah.
whatever,
So there could still be revisions before they issue the permit.
I guess.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't know about that. I just knew that, all I heard was we got the permit, it's going to the building department, they have to review it, and then
Yeah.
he plans to start in January, I guess if everything is okay and they're.
If they get it. Okay. You have a question?
Yeah, should we expect the building department will approve the permit in 30 days?
Well, that's really going to be up to the contractor and how quickly they respond to any comments that are asked for.
So we need to let her know that it may take more than 30 days if the contractor who submitted the permit, whether the permit is completed or not, and whether it needs revision. So let's make sure she doesn't expect that, it's going to be ready by February 1st.
I think the order was just to have the permit by the, whatever the date was. I don't think it was for work to be completed.
No, see, go ahead.
We had originally asked for the permit to be obtained by September 25th and completed by November 25th. However, I think during, when we were hearing this, I think those dates got changed, and I didn't write it down here. I do have it back there.
We did have an order.
Do you have it with you?
Permit obtained by September 25th, 2022, and complete permitted work by November 25th, 2022.
Okay, so those were the dates.
Okay, so we're late, he's late, but it doesn't, you're not back in front of us for violation yet. So just stay on top of him to get that permit
Yeah.
issued.
Well, he wasn't really the problem, to be honest with you. It was the people who issued the permits. I mean, I literally.
Or haven't yet.
Well, whatever, yeah, but I literally talked to them, to 5 separate people, 5 times, who all assured me that in 2 days, the permit would go through, blah, 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 blah. And then nothing would happen. I'd call them and I'd get another person, they don't know. Anyway, this went on and on and on.
But the contractor applied for it, not you, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so he
That's
should be
cool.
dealing with it.
Well, he tried to, and he couldn't get anywhere either, and so I called and, because, I paid for it, and I said, I don't understand what's going on, why isn't this being done, Anyway, it finally did, that part got done. They told me they issued the permit, so I just assumed that's what they did, they issued the permit, but now you're saying, well, they did, but it's got to be reviewed by the building department.
The permit has not
Not been
been
issued.
issued yet.
Okay, so they're reviewing the plans, is that what?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, and they may come back with more questions, they may ask for more revisions.
okay,
Just be prepared for that.
okay.
So did our directive have put a limit on when the construction was to be completed? No, nothing like that, just
Well,
When-
yes.
Well, the whole thing, yes. November.
No, this has been going on a while.
No, I don't think that's true.
Work was so
The
completed.
order says have contractor obtain required permits, have contractor complete work by November 25th.
Okay, well, that's what it says.
This is a long time. This has been in.
Just so everybody's aware, the affidavit of non-compliance was submitted after the permit was not obtained by September 25th, and that is on for next month's agenda for you to either approve or disapprove.
Yeah, that's why I really want to make it very clear before you leave that you need to not only get the permit, but this work needs to be completed before we meet again at the next month, at the end of next month.
The end of January.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to have to call the engineer and find out from him then what's going on.
Yeah, you'll
because-
have to stay on top of the permit process.
Okay.
It's not done yet. Okay.
All right. Again, but we had the permit, but I guess.
Sometimes it's confusing because they do issue you a number, but that is just your number for reference.
All right,
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
holiday. Thank you. Okay, is anyone here to speak on case 91-22? That also is a status update, so if nobody's here, we will skip that one. Okay. And,
I'm here
oh.
as a neighbor.
okay,
I don't know if it's the right setting to speak.
you're here for Mary Jones,
No.
924 Mandalay?
I'm next door to Mary Jones's property.
Okay.
Do you want to speak to the status update?
Sure. Well, I'd like to speak about a number of things, but how much time do I get?
You get 3 minutes, but only to speak to this status update for Mandalay Avenue.
So,
There is a photo on the screen, just so you have a reference if you need a refresher of what this is. It was a garage fire. This is the next door neighbor.
Okay, this is case 91-22, status update regarding respondents Mary Jones at 924 Mandalay Avenue in violation of code for unsafe building. You are?
my name is Al Hunsberger, 926 Mandalay, and we've been residents there and homesteaded for 15 years.
Okay.
The things that we've experienced over the last 15 years, this is hardly anything in comparison to all the laws that have been broken there. I've had harlots walk in my front door by mistake. I've had drug deals going on constantly. This is over the last 15 years, not in the present day. Some of the things have been corrected, I guess. We have people sleeping in the backyard. There's been all kinds of code ordinances that have been broken. And it seems like the city doesn't have the ability to enforce the law. So that's my underlying statement. I'm not happy with it. I think if you lived in my house and saw the burned out building sitting there, I can look right across the fence there that's now been rebuilt to my expense. I think the overall expenses now are up in the $7,000 range, so far as the damages that were incurred to my property. If you're in my shoes looking at that, I don't think you'd be happy to have that sitting there now for the last 6 months. Agreed? I think you've been too lenient and too slow to perform your duties as the professionals that you're elected to be to enforce law. And I'm trying to be kind. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just saying in general.
Because the issues for you are greater than this fire in this building.
Yeah, I've got even more issues, not just with her, like I said, where the law has not been enforced in previous years to evict her because of this, the fact that she's grandfathered in on the homesteading. She's not paid her taxes. She's had pimps there, running a pimp house, all kinds of things. So if this was the house next door to you where you live, where your grandchildren come to visit, you wouldn't be too happy.
Thank
I
you.
want something done about it.
Thank you, Mr. Huntsberger. We are trying to do something about this portion, which we do have control over. Regarding the taxes, that's another issue.
I also had a fire behind my on the backside of my property 2 days later. This happened when we were in Pennsylvania because we're there for half the year.
From the same property?
My property, different fence, the backside of the fence. So I'd like to engage the city another time to talk about the overriding things that are going on, because my rights, the rights of my family, rights of the neighbors that were supposed to also be here today are just as important as Jones's rights. And I think my rights have been violated at this point. I don't know who's supposed to pay for it other than me. The damages to my property, my insurance company. That's not fair to me.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have somebody contact me. I can leave my phone number, and we can set up a time to get together and talk about it some more.
Okay, we will do that, Mr. Huntsberger, and we will address this issue today and the next time it is in front of us to rule on.
One last question. Based on where you're at right now, I understand you're fining her on a daily basis for not adhering to the rules and submitting permits and so forth. When can I expect closure?
So, I'm gonna let Mr. Cantrell speak to that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hi, Al. Are you the one I'm talking about?
Mary Margaret is here. Just so you know, we are following the timelines for notification set forth in state statutes, so we're going as quickly as we can. It's frustrating for Mr. Huntsberger, I'm sure. It's frustrating for staff at times, but that's the process, so we're doing the best we can. As far as fines are not accruing yet. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed with the clerk. You guys will hear that in January and either approve or disapprove that, at which time fines would start. And then, as stated in when the case was heard, 3 months after the lien is recorded, we can then possibly move toward foreclosure.
Is this the current violation?
Yes. With me, yes, that's the only violation.
That's what I thought, okay. It appears Ms. Jones is here. Ms. Jones,
Yes,
would you
I
like to
am.
speak on the status update of this property?
I was very surprised to see my...
Hang on just one
friend.
second.
You haven't, I'm sorry, you have to be sworn in.
Oh, sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I do. I was very surprised to see Mr. Huntsberger here. This has been an ongoing game he's been playing with harassing me since 2007. I think I put out a letter to that effect. This is his MO. The status of that is we have an engineer right now working really hard on it. He may have the plan together either today or tomorrow, and then we have a backup engineer in the wings too. So I didn't get to tell my code enforcement officer that because I've been so busy reading the I codes, the Florida building codes, the FEMA codes, and everything else, just to try to be as present as I can in resolving our problem.
When was the fire, Mr.?
The problem, we don't know. It was late May. We don't know how it was caused. We're suspecting even an arsonist. Maybe it was the Duke Energy wires that fell onto the property. The man here, Mr. Al Huntsberger, said that months ago he noticed that the palm trees were sparking in the wires. It's like, why didn't you report that? So anyway, the fire happened, and he can't even see that garage from his property. He's got a 9-foot fence, and I've tarped it in a nice thick white tarp, the whole building. You can't see it there, but it's all covered up. He just is a mischief maker. About 7 years ago, he was pressuring for me to sell all 3 of my properties to him and wanted to put me up in a condo and give me $200,000. And it's just like bizarreness. A typical guy with too much time on his hands.
Okay, well, this case is coming back up before us in a month for liens because the property has not been taken care of.
I just can't wait till this engineer has the plan, and hopefully today or tomorrow we'll have the permit in. I'm paying a lot of money for these specialized guys, so.
Okay, well,
And then I have a crew set up to get it all taken care of quickly.
okay.
so it won't stretch
I'll
out.
have to stay on top of it. Thank you for the status update. Does anyone else have any other questions for Ms. Jones? Okay. That's it. Thank you.
I wish I wasn't late, or I would have heard the whole thing.
Oh, I mean,
From my
it's
neighbor.
your status update, so we're just waiting to
I
hear
told Mr.
from you.
Hamburger, love thy neighbor as thyself, that's real important. I wish he would just, get that. And I said, what is it you really want from me, Al? He goes, Mary, I want you to tear your whole house down and rebuild and then make like a mini mansion and sell it. It's like, Al, some of us just want a house. We don't want the money. We just want peace. And I said, your house is older than mine. Why don't you tear yours house apart and rebuild it? I said, you've got a diamond. Our old houses are built of solid cypress and cedar. And that's the best building material you can get. It lasts 200 years. It's water, bug, and wind resistant. You can't get much better than wood.
Except for fires.
So, I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Good holiday. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you.
4.3 is continued?
No, it has
Or-
been continued. It is on for today.
It's on for today. Okay, my apologies. Case 75-22, issue order with compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met for respondents Clearwater Homes LLC at 1476 Pierce Street for residential grass parking. Mr. Kasman.
How you doing today, Board? As Code Enforcement Inspector, Young here too.
Is there anyone here to speak to this?
Yeah.
Oh, please. Are you, please state your name and address for the...
Sure. My name is Stefan Koenig, 1528 Walnut Street, Clearwater, and this is about 1476 Pierce Street.
Is this are you Clearwater Homes LLC? Is that
Yes,
your...
I'm representing Clearwater
Okay.
Homes LLC. We were here last month. The board was so helpful in trying to find a solution. I think the staff of the city of Clearwater, they've all gotten a call from me. I've been very busy on it, so finally I got an email from the city of Clearwater that they will support the permit for a one-car wide driveway as long as I meet the setbacks. So that's good. I had a quote to put in the driveway. I ordered that contractor to put the driveway in. Then I didn't hear anything for about a week. I called them every day. Finally, 3 days ago, I got a text message that the contractor is in hospital. He had a stroke. So I found a new contractor. I called about 30 asphalt companies. I found a new contractor. He gave me a quote yesterday, and I ordered him yesterday to put it in, but he just called me while I was sitting here before the meeting started and told me that he's going to pull the permit for it tomorrow.
So you said this was the issue with the driveway.
Grass parking.
They couldn't get a driveway or something?
Yeah, there is
It was
a,
there, but like eroded over the
Oh,
years.
okay.
yes.
So you got permission from the city to request a permit, is that what you're saying?
Yes, verbatim says, and I brought all of this, so I have this all in writing. I had to do a survey, which I did. It was not easy. The surveyors are pretty busy. So the city, let me see what it exactly says here. I mean, that's an email that went out from the city to everybody. I said, I think Mr. Husband got it, and I think you also got it, right? It says, staff has been discussing the challenge with the parking situation on your property and the current code allowances. I believe you have been in conversation with Mark Perry, who was referencing downtown zoning code limitations on parking in the front. The Planning and Development Director has provided that the addition of a single car-wide driveway that would meet the required side setback of 5 feet will be supported by planning through a building construction permit.
Okay.
So
good news.
that would solve the whole situation. The only little problem that we ran into, just mentioning that, the whole street is dug up. There is a project going on. I spoke to Alfonso from this city, who said he's an assistant manager. They are replacing like 6 feet lines to 8 feet lines on the sanitary sewer, and all house connections have to be redone.
Okay.
And I spoke to the contractor, Roland. I was actually there a few times, and I also spoke to them on the phone. They said that they cannot allow me to put in the driveway right now because I cannot bring a machine in there.
Sure.
And they said it would be stupid to do it right this minute because they have to dig it up again because I need to connect all the houses.
So you're using asphalt, not concrete,
We're using asphalt.
and you have an asphalt contractor, and he is applying for the permit, correct? Or you are?
No, I've ordered to make it faster, I've ordered my GC to pull the permit, and I have an asphalt contractor who will put it in for the GC.
Who is in the hospital?
Okay, my original contractor, and I have the quotes here, if you want to see it, I have it all in writing here, right? My original contractor is in hospital, he had a stroke, so I had to find a new asphalt contractor, which I found.
But you're applying for your own permit.
I cannot apply for my own permit, but I've asked my contractor, who happens to be my tenant, to apply for it, because the asphalt contractor told me that he could only do it like in a few weeks. So I've yesterday asked my contractor if he can apply for it. I was hoping he would have it done by now, but he only called me now. So he promised that tomorrow it will be done.
Okay.
But that, again, and by the way, the tenant, I was there probably 20 times since the last hearing, and every time the car was not on there. The only time he was partially, was two cars, there was two wheels parked a little bit, was yesterday when I was there with the contractor. But other than that, he has not been parking there, which is very complicated because there's no parking on the street.
Yeah, I can speak for the whole board when I said we really appreciate you following up with the city and getting this approval. That's the biggest piece of this
Yeah.
right now. Thank you.
Good.
Does anyone have questions?
So, and what, I mean, I brought everything in writing in case you needed something, so this is where we stand.
I just worry that we add complication when the contractor doing the work is not the one applying for the permit, because then you're going to be asking to hold someone else responsible for someone else's plans,
Yes.
kind of thing.
I mean, we can wait for the asphalt contractor to do it, but he told me it won't be this year anymore until he applies for it.
Oh, well, if you, yeah, we left. Okay. Pat, you had a question?
Well, Daniel, can you?
Thank you, Mr. Bowles.
Hello again, Board. Daniel Kasman, Code Enforcement Inspector for the City of Clearwater. I'll go through the slides again so we can get a refresher on this particular property and everything we spoke about. I've been by a few times myself. So this is 1476 Pierce Street. This was the property. There wasn't a driveway. I'd spoken to the tenants, Mr. Koenig several times, and then over the months they were still having the issue of the parking. I think there was some confusion about what they thought was an acceptable parking surface and what we didn't have there. Last month we spoke about some issues with just putting in a driveway. I've always tried to stress the fact that the easiest solution is just to park in the street and not park in the yard. I had seen the same things too, that the tenant had, after that date, had been parking correctly, and then when I went by yesterday to go do an update, they were parking again, half on, half in the street, but there has been extensive work being done on that street recently. They are taking care of that end. There's a lot of work being done. So when I went by again on yesterday, like I said, 20th, there are cones out. There is a lot of road work happening there. It is a little bit ugly out there. I have updated the compliance date to now be January 7th of 2023 to give them additional time. Maybe the work can be done there. And in the meantime, while Mr. Koenig is still trying to build a driveway, the tenant can use street parking if, it'd be easier to do so in the meantime. That's really all they have to do to come to compliance, is just simply stop parking in the grass, utilize the street if the street's torn up right now. That's why I figured January 7th next year would be easier for them. Hopefully that work can be done by then.
That's just a caution barrel. That's not saying that the car cannot park properly on the street.
The issue is that the car right now, it's got two wheels on the utility parkway, which is still a grassy area, still can be considered grass parking on the property, because it's still a responsibility of any adjacent property owner to maintain that part of their yard. So it's a two on, two off. It's still kind of technically grass parking on a property. That's what I'm saying. With all that's going on there, with the work that's being done on the street, with Mr. Koenig trying to obtain the permit, I would just say my new compliance date is just January 7th, 2023, as of right now.
When's our next meeting?
Can I?
Yeah. What do you got?
Okay, it's clear to me that the controlling operation for this whole matter is the work that's being done for the sewer line and the connection of the sewer to the house, correct? I mean, he can't do anything until and he really shouldn't do anything until that part of the work is completed.
If it was up to me and I was the tenant of the property, I probably wouldn't park near where all the construction is happening. I'd probably park down the street rather than not
But
there.
I don't think we can dictate where the guy parks his car. I mean, he could,
We
He
do,
could-
we are
well,
dictating,
Sounds
we're
like
saying he can't
it
park on
almost-
the grass.
It almost sounds like the perfect storm with like everything that's going on. It's like he's working hard to get to the solution, but yet there's construction going on. They got to dig out. They have to do the connections back to the house, and then it's like all these things are parking. And isn't this the one where he got the nasty note for parking on the street anyways?
I saw
The
it.
poor guy.
Brought in a piece of
Just
cardboard.
park a mile
with
away.
an interesting letter on it, yes.
With all your groceries.
well, I think the person's elderly, though.
No, the person's
Even
his
worse.
contractor.
It's his mom or grandmother or somebody lives with him.
I thought it was your contractor.
Not that.
Oh.
But it is correct, it's a young guy and it's a really old mother.
Okay. I don't know.
My suggestion was just increase the compliance date to a later date. I thought nearly 3 weeks might be enough time. If anyone has any other opinion or suggestion, I'm
I
open
think
to
it ought to be February. I don't think we can dictate to the contractor that he has to be finished in time for him to do his work by January 7th, because they're going to put that sewer line in, and in another 30 days after that, there will be settlement, and if he puts the asphalt in,
To clarify, the violation is not about the driveway. The violation is just about the parking on the grass. He just cannot park on the grass.
And that's simple, but at the same time, where does he park with all that shenanigans going on there?
He can park in front of his house. The barrels are not saying that he cannot park in front of his house. The barrels are just caution barrels.
If the vehicle was parked perfectly in the street, I'm still going to just suggest
And
the
there's still
January
room
7th.
for-
Just the behavior of just parking in the yard just cannot continue as long as there's not
We
a
understand.
surface to park there. Any part of the street can be parked in.
there's people all over the city that are parking on the grass.
It's illegal.
It's certainly one of our most violated ordinances, yes, that is true. It's just when you do have a home and you don't have a parking surface at the home, your only choice is to utilize street parking. The only exceptions we give are in residential districts. When you have a driveway, you get one exception, which is parallel and adjacent. No other zone in the city has given that exception. And I can certainly understand everybody's thoughts about the construction work going on and trying to get a driveway. That's why I suggested January 7th. And like I said, if anybody else has any other ideas, I'd be more than open to hear them.
Mr. Koenig wants to speak.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Well, I just wanted to point something out. Every picture that you've seen, but the last one, was before the last meeting we had. Because I had a pretty straight talk with my tenant and made clear that he doesn't park there anymore. And I was there 20 times since the last meeting. He never, ever parked on the property.
Well,
And
that's
that-
the problem. That's why we're here. That's the original case.
That's the original, that's correct, but, I mean, we've handled this situation. And yes, the last picture, I was not aware that parking with two wheels on this little slip, that was also a violation. I didn't know, and I will certainly make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. But I myself wasn't aware of that. You know, I told him to not park in the non-existing driveway. So, but, I mean, the overall solution is, of course, to have him not park there and then put in this driveway as soon as possible. There is a driveway, it's just,
Oh, we fully appreciate all the effort that you have made toward that and the ongoing efforts and the expense. That's phenomenal. But just regarding this issue,
Sir, I have
he
a
can't
question.
park on the grass.
I have a question. Do you have any idea when the construction for the sewer line will be completed?
That's a question for the city.
no. I asked,
Yeah, but he might know.
I asked Alfonso today, and he said he doesn't know, maybe 4 weeks, 6 weeks until that's done. He said if anybody had a question, he's a city employee, he gave me his cell phone number, said we could call him and ask him. But he said this is contracted out to a company in Largo, Roland Inc., and as I said, I spoke to them too. And
So everything hinges on that construction being completed first, before you can even, if you had a permit, can do your job.
well, theoretically, I could do it any time, but when we were there with the contractor, they told us, that was yesterday, they told us that they would not allow us in there with the asphalt machine as long as they are working on their asphalt. And of course, it makes a lot of sense. The city told me that they're still connecting the new line to all the houses.
Right.
So it would be stupid to put in a driveway now and then dig it up.
That's why I'm asking you if you have heard when that construction sewer line. is
My
completed.
assumption would be that within the next 2 months it would be handled. But
2 months, okay.
yeah, I mean, it's way out of my control.
Yeah, I understand that, but you've been very explicit and been following it up.
Yeah.
Surely, you probably have even asked some of
I
the
have asked them.
construction workers.
Oh, yes,
I
absolutely.
would.
Yeah, it took me a long time to even find out who in the city is responsible for this project.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But I think what we're looking at is with or without the driveway, you just can't park, on the grass. And-
Yes.
And you're taking care of that, so with that said,
Make that recommendation.
January.
Come see, come slide, there's no real, it's a dilemma.
Yeah.
And as the Madam
Okay.
Chairman said last month, you're in a pickle until then.
Well, he's working his way out of
Oh,
the pickle.
yes,
In the
yes,
short
yes,
term,
you
you just
are.
need to get through to the tenant that they cannot park on the grass. Or
Yeah.
you're going to receive the fine.
And I mean, in all honesty, I've told him that he cannot park on the property. And I'm pretty sure if I would ask the tenant, he would, the only picture that we saw was with the two wheels there. I mean, he has, I don't know, the mother is like 80 years or something. And that's why he's always trying to park somewhere close by. That's the
Yeah.
truth, right? She sold her car, she's not driving anymore.
Understandable, yeah.
But,
Are we ready to roll on?
yeah, I mean, I'm sure the tenant believes that that little portion is city and not his, but it's probably an easement. I
He's
have,
in a pickle too, you know.
So we have a admission, you admit to the violation, correct?
You've already made that determination.
Oh, this is a,
This is just the second part.
okay. Does anyone,
No, can I make a motion that we request compliance on or before January, or March 7th, 2023,
you can?
or a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day the violation continues to exist?
Is there a second?
You talking about extending it to March?
He wants to extend it to
Oh, I'll
violation.
second that.
Do you want to make a formal motion, or is that it?
I think that was my formal
That was
motion.
That was the motion.
Yeah.
That was the motion.
Did you get that?
I think he's gonna need more time.
I think she needs a formal motion.
He didn't do the, right. You need to do the rest of the part of the motion.
What page are we on?
page 1.
Okay, I move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violation on or before March 7th. If the board does not comply by that date, if the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day. Each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
Who were the nays, I'm sorry?
2 and 2.
It's 3-2.
Motion carries. A?
Is that a football game?
can I ask a question? Just trying to understand something. The minute we have applied for the permit and put the driveway in, that would automatically handle the case anyway, right? Because then there would be legal parking.
This is not a case about the permit. This is a case about parking on the grass.
Yes. So once there's no grass anymore, then it would handle it anyway.
Even after the driveway is in, you still can't park on the grass.
That's not what he's asking, not yet.
But that's,
Yeah, it will end.
but that's what
Yeah,
that's.
I just want to,
Wait, technically, Daniel, if there's a driveway, can't he then park adjacent to the driveway on the grass?
On a residentially zoned
But not in this zone.
property in the city of Clearwater, if you have a driveway put in, you may have one grass parking spot parallel and adjacent to the driveway. If the driveway is put in and the tenant starts parking away on the very farthest side of the yard in the yard, then that would still be grass parking regardless of a driveway or not.
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. Thank you, Daniel. All righty. Case 4.4 is withdrawn. Case 104-22 finds respondents Bruce Moffett at 1465 South Evergreen Avenue in violation of code for fences and driveway surface. Is there anyone here to speak of this violation?
No?
Hello, Mr. Casman.
Aboard, Daniel Casman, Code Enforcement Inspector for the City of Clearwater. This is for case number 104-22 for 1465 South Evergreen Avenue. There are two violations here for Code Section 3-808A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, dealing with fence maintenance, upright, uniform appearance, and in good repair. And Code Section 3-1502K4 for sidewalk and parking surfaces. These are the dates the notice of violation were out with the compliance dates. There was an affidavit of posting and a notice of hearing posted at the property as well. This was 1465 South Evergreen Avenue. I initially came here from a complaint of lot clearing. The grass was pretty high, but then I noticed that the driveway was in a state of disrepair. And at the right there, you can see that part of the fence is falling over there in the back near that shed. There's a distinct property line between the neighbor's fence and this owner's fence here. Here's a better look at that, where the fence is falling over there, if you can see it by that shed there. This was the affidavit of posting. I didn't receive a green card. I've tried knocking on the door at the property. I've put a lot clearing notice on the door. I've tried calling the utilities are still active. I've tried calling and I've just never gotten a response from anybody. This was on September 20th. Driveway and the fence were still in the state of disrepair. I went back and the grass was cut, so there is somebody maintaining the yard there. I tried calling again, tried knocking on the door. I haven't gotten any response from the owner. The fence was still falling over in the back in October. This is the notice of hearing for today's hearing. And I went back today and the driveway is still in rough condition and the fence is still falling over in the back there.
Does anyone live there?
I'm not sure. There's a name on the utilities that doesn't match the utility, that doesn't match Mr. Moffett. I've tried calling it. I've tried, again, like I said, knocked on the door several times. No one ever comes forth. But like I said, it looks like somebody's maintaining the yard. So I was hoping that maybe by posting, somebody would come forward and let me know what's going on with the property. But so far, nothing's happened.
I feel like we've talked to Mr. Moffett before. Have you, so no one signed for the card?
No, I had to post the property with a copy of the notice, and then I had to post the property for the notice of hearing. But like I said, it looks like there's some interest in the property. I just can't get a hold of anybody, any interested parties. So I thought so. If I brought it forth to code board, somebody would come forth, but nobody's saying anything.
And we can't find the owner.
But like I said, someone's maintaining. I don't know if it's a neighbor or perhaps whoever's on the utilities. I've tried calling them, but they didn't, like I said, they won't pick up the phone.
Well, should we motion?
I move to find
Or do you want to hear your?
Yeah, the first one if you want.
Yeah, I'm requesting compliance on or before January 21st, 2023 for fence maintenance and driveway maintenance at the property. And if they want to come to compliance, they just need to repair the section of the fence that's damaged or falling over, remove it, and compliance will be met for the driveway maintenance by repairing and restoring the driveway to a usable state.
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before January 21st, 2023. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation. For each date, each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid, 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. That wraps up all the new business items. On to unfinished business. We have affidavits of compliance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 affidavits of compliance.
I move to accept the affidavits of compliance as listed.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those pass. Case 48-22 has been withdrawn, and case 72-22 is continued to January. We'll move on to nuisance abatement lien filings. And there are 5 of these. If no one is here to speak on these, is there anyone here to speak on the nuisance abatement liens? Page 3 and 4.
Yes, there is one.
Do you want to come up to the podium? Which case? Do you know?
For 112-22.
112-22, accept the nuisance abatement lien filing for Respondents Bible Church of God of Boynton Beach at 1406 North Martin Luther King Drive Avenue for inoperative vehicle. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thanks. Your name and address?
Sylvester Banks. The address of the property or my address?
Your address.
Good question. 124.
Is this your church, Mr. Sylvester?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that address is 1406 North MLK.
Can we use this address?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And could I get your name one more time? I'm sorry.
Sylvester Banks.
Do you want to tell us about this violation?
Yes, I got a notice from Mr. Dixon, right, that we was in violation of the vehicle that is on the property, which is a MCI Greyhound bus.
Bus?
Yes. And so I didn't know that there was such a code existed. So.
I take it the bus is not tagged or?
No, what happened, we was using it, but shouting out different to schools and stuff, but eventually the market kind of like changed on us and they started wanting bigger buses and, that seat more, hold more capacity, but ours only seat 43 and they're going up to like 60, 70 now, so we kind of like put it on pause, and just parked it.
Okay.
So.
That is not allowed.
Nah, yes, I know that.
As you've discovered. Do you have any intention to move the bus?
Yes, well, I
running?
Made some inquiries and I have a potential buyer for the bus.
Okay.
So he want to move on around the first of the year, so I figured maybe we get an extension, maybe till, I don't know, May or something.
Till May? All right, I think I want to hear from Mr. Dixon about this.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Board. Inspector Gregory Dixon, Code Compliance Office. This is for case 112-22 for 1406 North Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue for inoperable vehicles. There's one violation at the property for the inoperable vehicles. It's in violation of Code Section 3-1503B6. Notice of violation was posted on November the 4th, with a compliance date of November the 14th, and the property was also posted on that day. This is the bus. I spoke to him in the spring, and he was going to work on getting the bus out of there, and there's also a van back behind it that's probably been there as long as the bus. And I hadn't heard from him. I sent another letter, and I didn't get a response, so I went ahead and posted it, and we're here now. And it's, this was yesterday.
Is the van currently tagged?
No, neither one.
Is this case regarding both the vehicles?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to hear my recommendation?
Is that you have any questions? Okay. Yes, please.
Okay, for my recommendation for this case, I request compliance on or before February 1st, 2023 for the violation of inoperable vehicles or a fine of $150 per day for each day the violation exists. Compliance can be met by either removing the vehicles from the property or make the vehicles roadworthy and display current registration. But if he needs extra time, I mean, it will be a pretty large undertaking. I would have asked to abate, but the tow company would have challenges getting out of there themselves. So that's why we went with a fine. But if he can't get them out of there by May, we'll be
Oh, it would be more expensive to abate, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Banks, do you understand what the city's asking?
That right there. what I'm reading?
Well, it looks like that van and the bus have been there
Well,
for quite a while.
The van been there a good while. We purchased the property years ago, and I wasn't here at the time. So, but I've been here in the last 10 years. So, so that we can't move the van into the bus because I have a fence on the back. I don't know if you see the fence back there. So we have to move the bus in order to get the van out of there.
Yeah, the vehicles either need to go or they need to be operable and tagged.
Well,
registered.
so how much time you gonna give me?
He's going to request until February 1st, but you've known about it since spring of this year.
Well, I understand that I have other things going on as well, and that's a major piece of equipment, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was focused on, you know, we was doing some inside remodeling. I got to get a roof put on. So we're a small congregation, so we have to do things step by step. So when this come up, you know, it's kind of like.
This needs to move up the priority list, okay?
Well, I'm doing, you know, I'm trying to get it out of there. So I do have a potential buyer, as I first stated. So that's where I'm at with it, you know. So that's why I asked for, you know, some more time. It's not that I'm ignoring it. I didn't even know he sent me another letter to tell you the truth. I don't know. I didn't know that. So, but when he posted, if he hadn't probably posted that on that thing, I probably still would have known this, you know. So I'm in and out of town a lot, so.
If the city has to remove these vehicles, it's going to be a lot more expensive.
I know. That's why I'm asking you. I need some more time, you know, because I know, you know, it'll cost me to move it as well, you know. So I have a potential buyer, like I said. So if he move on, like he said, so that's why. Because the bus been sitting there most time with a diesel bus, you know, you charge a battery, about to blow it up, it'll fire right up because there was nothing wrong with it when we parked it. So.
Well, if you have a buyer, 5 weeks should be about enough to get a buyer in and out of there with.
I can't hear you, excuse me.
If you have a buyer, 5 weeks should be about enough time to get them in and out of there with those vehicles.
Well, I'm just, you know, it could be. I'm just want to be safe so that I won't be in violation again. So that's what I'm asking for, the time that I'm asking for. So, you know, to be on the safe side. So, I don't have, you know, no money to be really, to be in violation.
No. So, you'll have money if you sell them.
Excuse me?
You'll have money when you sell them.
Yeah, well, I'm basically just giving away to get it out of there. So, it's really, I'm not really making, you know, I'm just trying to comply because I know I'm probably finished with it for what I was doing with it. So I'm, you know, he offered me a price. I say, okay, you know, real low ball price. Okay, well, you get it. I'm fine with that, you know. So I got other plans, with, you know, and that's not included. So.
All right, does anyone want to make a motion?
It's a nuisance abatement. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't really fit the new, so.
Right, you need to make the motion based on the nuisance abatement.
There's a page.
Yeah, page 7 doesn't quite fit that. Request compliance. I want to request compliance on it before February 1st, 2023 for the violation of inoperable vehicles where a $150 fine per day for the violation exists. At the same time, I want to move to order finding the respondent in violation of code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within, I guess I'd reword this, within February 1st, 2023. Of the board's written order, if the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry onto the property to abate and maintain the nuisance and charge the respondent with a reasonable cost, which will become a lien on the property. If costs and fines remain unpaid for 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So what just happened there? I can't hold it.
So we've requested that you get these vehicles off the property and or running and properly tagged by February 1st, or your fine is going to start per day. You have 9 weeks. No, weeks. Sorry. 5 weeks.
So that's the best you can do with that.
Yes, for
Right.
something that's been, you've known about since the spring of this year.
Well, I didn't, not to the capacity where I know now. He spoke to me, and, you know, I can't remember what I told him, but I know, I didn't know it was at this particular place here. You follow what I'm saying? So, listen, I'm gonna do what I can, you know, I'm doing what I can now, so that's why I'm here, you know, to let you know that it's not being ignored, but, you know, like I say, it's a big piece of equipment, and, you know, so.
You know, you might want to consider, if you don't get a buyer as relief, you can possibly sell it for scrap or even donate it. That would get it off your
I
property.
never thought of a donation, so do you know any?
It's a great tax write-off.
Not offhand, but there are agencies out there who probably love to have that bus, and that gets you off the hook.
I'll stay in contact with him.
Other churches
Appreciate
would
that. Thank you,
probably
Mr.
take it.
Dixon.
I would
don't think no other churches probably.
be surprised.
And the van. Thank you,
guys.
Mr. Banks.
And the
Have a
van,
good
yeah.
holiday. Thank you.
Thank you.
And can we accept all the, except the nuisance lane abatements as one, the rest of them? 7.1 through 7.7? Please.
I move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of code, requiring the respondent to correct the violation within 5 days.
Wait, what are we doing?
These are nuisance abatements.
We're just accepting all the.
Yeah, just accepting the nuisance abatement lien filings. If you could just recite the case numbers, or actually.
Oh, you want me to listen?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the nuisance abatements for cases 7.1 through 7.7, or should I?
Well, we don't, 7.4 and 7.5 have been withdrawn.
Okay, with the exception of those two.
And 7.
And 7.3, we just.
Right.
Okay, 7.3 also. So let me remake that motion to accept the nuisance of abatement for 7.1, 7.2, 7.6, and 7.7.
Yes.
That's it.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any other comments?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second that.
Second.
Okay, I now close this portion, public portion of the hearing. Everybody said otherwise.
Have a great holiday.
Yes, Merry
I
Christmas.
know, not exactly.